want. All right, so the recording has started. So there it is, my background. I've been trading for 25 years. At one point, I turned $30,000 into $500,000 in 3 months using the techniques that I'll show you today. Early in my career as a trader, I came to realize that I needed my own tools and indicators to do well. I developed a method that is, I would say, somewhat unique. It's not something where you can go out to any old website and apply it. And so I created my own tools. We'll talk about the Stockscores Market Scan tool. We'll talk about some of my indicators that I use in different software packages, things that are built into Stockscores.com. And so from that, I've been able to really make my process very efficient and share it with others. I've been teaching other people how to trade my method for the last 15 years or so, and it has done, quite well, and a lot of people have learned it. I've taught over well over 1,000 people how to trade my method over the last 15 years. I don't teach a lot of people on a yearly basis. I might teach 100 people how to do what I do. The little statement that I have there at the bottom is, I think, important to understand as you go into today's presentation, and that is, if you do what everyone else is doing, you will get what everyone else gets, and that is really about being average. I don't want to be average. I don't want to earn the average return of the market, which is not bad. I mean, the average return of the market historically is 7 or 8%. And if you want to be that kind of passive investor and just earn the market's return, then go buy an exchange traded fund that basically moves with the market. What I'm looking to do is beat the market. I want to make a living off of the market by actively trading the market. If you're a position trader, you want to beat the market. If it earns 10%, you want to earn 20%. That's how I approach the market. In order to beat the market, you have to do things that not everyone else is doing. And so my approach to the market may seem a bit different for those of you that are new to one of these webinars, but I think you'll sort of get a sense that it makes some sense. All right, so what is my active trading concept? So let me first make a distinction between active trading and investing. For me, active trading is day and swing trading. So day trading is holding a stock that I'm going to exit before the end of the day. So I'm in 3 day trades right now as I do this presentation, and by the close, I will have exited those 3 trades. Swing trading is holding stocks at least overnight, but probably not more than a couple of weeks. And position trading, which is now getting into the investing concept, is holding stocks for more than 2 weeks, but probably more like a few months. The amount of time that it takes to do each one is more the shorter the hold period. So it takes more time to day trade than it does to swing trade, and it takes more time to swing trade than it does to position trade. So what we're talking about today in this webinar is active trading, day and swing trading. So it's much more time consuming. I would say anywhere from an hour a day to all day. For the most part, my day trading, I work pretty hard for the first 2 hours of the day. I then don't do a lot through the middle of the day, and then I come back at the end of the day and exit my positions. I could probably make a little more money if I sat here all day and did it all day, but I've got lots of other things that I do, so I can't just do that every day, although some days I do. So with my active trading concept, I'm focused on a different set of stocks every day. Some people day trade the market where they say, I'm going to trade Facebook and Microsoft and Google every day, and they do that every day. And I've done that before. I don't find that that is a real effective way to trade. I think that my success is much higher when I am really focusing in on the stocks that are active, that are abnormal, that are very liquid. And I'll show you how I do that in a moment. So for me, I trade a different list of stocks every day. The stocks that I'm trading today were very different than the stocks I traded yesterday, and those ones are different than the day before. I'm always looking for situations where the efficiency of the market is breaking down. Now this gets a little bit theoretical. It's really about this concept of the efficient market hypothesis. If anyone's ever read a book called The Random Walk Down Wall Street, you'll know what that means. Basically, the efficient market hypothesis says you can't beat the market because it is efficient. It's very good at pricing in information. And I would say 95% of the time that is true. However, there are stocks on a daily basis that are trading in ways that really show a breakdown in market efficiency. They're trading on new information, or they are trading on abnormal emotion. And that is what this is all about. I look for the stocks that can beat the market because there's significant fundamental change underway or there is a lot of emotion in the market. And really, I make a short list of stocks that meet those basic criteria, and then I look for entry points that give me a good entry where the reward outweighs the risk, or the potential reward outweighs the risk. All right, so that's the basic concept. Sorry, I'm getting some people that are saying that they can't get any sound, but it's got to be something related to their system because we have lots of people getting sound. So I'm just going to continue along here. Okay, so strategy trading. What is strategy trading? I'm a strategy trader. I don't trade stocks based on fundamental analysis. I don't trade stocks based on tips. I don't trade stocks based on recommendations by someone on television. I trade based on rules. Rules of when to buy, rules of when to sell, and rules for risk management. So as an example, I might say, and this isn't one of my strategies, but as an example, I might say, I'm going to buy a stock that goes to a 52-week high for the first time in a year, provided it's trading double its normal volume. That would be a real simple strategy. I don't know that that would work. I'm just giving you an example of what I would consider strategy trading. Some people might use strategies that are based on fundamentals. So buy a stock where earnings growth is consistent over 4 quarters, that has a PE ratio less than the market average. That would be a fundamental way to do strategy trading. I do strategy trading based on chart data or market data. So I look for statistical anomalies in the market. I've written algorithms that scan the market looking for things that are abnormal. And basically the idea is that where there is smoke, there is fire. If a stock is trading with statistically significant abnormal behavior, then there's probably something going on there. In other words, if a stock normally trades around $10 and kind of is pretty quiet around $10 and trades 1 million shares a day on average, and then one day it trades 4 million shares a day and it goes up to 11 and it's made a 10% price gain, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that there's probably something going on at that company in terms of its fundamentals that is warranting people to pay more and people to really buy it aggressively and get excited about it. So that's where I look. Every day I start my day by looking for the stocks trading abnormally. So for example, last night Skechers, or maybe it was before the open today, Skechers, SKX on the New York Stock Exchange, announced earnings and it's trading abnormally today. It's trading a lot of volume and it's moving up through to new highs. I bought it this morning because it met my criteria. All right, I didn't buy it because I like Skechers shoes. I didn't buy it because they have good management. I bought it because it met the criteria of one of my day trading strategies. And so what I've been doing over the last, since March 9th, is accumulating data on one of my strategies. So every day I make a list of all of the entry signals that met my rules, and basically if a computer was applied, these would be the stocks to buy and the time to buy them based on my rules. And I plot those in what's called an equity curve. And what an equity curve does is it shows how the value of that strategy gains over time. So since March 9th, this particular day trading strategy that I'm talking about has provided 139 entry signals. It's typically anywhere from 3 to 7 a day on this particular day trading strategy. And so every day I go into Excel and I plot them in Microsoft Excel. And here's all of the symbols. So March 9th RMGN, March 9th GPRE. Okay, so those are all plotted into Excel and then I graph them. Now you'll notice that there's 6 lines on this chart. The 6 lines are different based on the exit strategy. Okay, so all of the entry rules were the same. So I bought the same stocks no matter what line we're looking at, but the exit rules were different. And the reason I've been doing this since March 9th is to test my exit rules. I have different ways of exiting trades, where I put the stop, when I exit the trade, do I hold till the close or do I exit intraday on a certain signal? And I've been testing that over time, since March 9th, just to see which exit strategy works the best. What I'm finding is that this orange line, which represents basically holding until the close for this particular day trading strategy, has worked the best. It has accumulated a little better than $140,000 in profit over that 139 trades. And you can see over the course of the month, it's been just steadily going higher. And that's what you want when you look at an equity curve for a strategy. You want a strategy that just goes up consistently without a lot of volatility. Now we had a little bit of volatility in here where it kind of went sideways for a while. We had a little bit of volatility in mid-March when it went sideways for a while, but generally, day after day, this has been working well. Again, last week there was some sideways action in the strategies as well, and that's pretty normal for strategy trading. So that is an equity curve, and you can see that using $1,000 of risk per trade, this stock strategy, depending on the exit, has earned anywhere from 85,000 to 145,000. I'm not sure of the exact number, but you can see that graphically. All right, so that is the equity curve, and that really sort of gives us a sense of what strategy trading is all about. It's coming up with a set of rules that consistently work over time. We don't know, I don't know, if I'm going to make money on the trade that I made today. What I do know is if I do it over and over and over again, I should make money because the strategy has a upward sloping equity curve. All right, but I could have 3, 5 losers in a row. I could then have 10 winners in a row. I mean, there is some randomness to it still. It's kind of like if you play blackjack, you know that if you play blackjack over and over and over again, you're going to lose money because the odds are against you. It would have an equity curve that is going down from left to right. Now, you may have a lucky day where you make money playing blackjack, but generally that's not going to be the case. By the way, these little pop-up windows that are coming up here are alerts that I get for some of my day trading strategies. And since the market's open and I'm trading, essentially, I'm still getting those alerts. So I'll try to close those when they pop up. All right, so let's talk about the day trading process. Here's how I day trade. I start my day in the first hour really building a watch list, the 5 to 20 stocks that I'm going to trade that day. So today's watch list has, I think, 10 stocks on it. And I'll show you in a moment how I create that. I then monitor my watch list for entry signals using some kind of real-time charting program. So I'm a client of Disnat, which is or Desjardins Online Brokerage. This is their real-time charting program. This shows the chart of a stock that is on my day trading watch list today, and it's on my day trading watch list because it is behaving abnormally. It started behaving abnormally right from the open today, and it's just been marching higher all day. Well, it's given an entry signal using one of my strategies right here where I'm circling, and since that time, it's continued to move higher. All right, so we'll come back to this in a little bit, but essentially I build a watch list and then I monitor my watch list for stocks giving real-time entry signals. Now, how do I create the watch list? I have a couple of tools that I use. Now, most of the stocks that I put on my watch list can be found in the first hour of the day. You know, I work pretty actively, pretty busy for that first hour, and then it becomes a lot easier. And then I'm really just monitoring my watch list for the stocks that meet my criteria. I'm going to show you how I do this in just a moment. As I said, though, the majority of my entry signals are found in the first 2 hours of the day. So if I want to be lazy, or let's say I've got other things I have to do, maybe I have to cut my grass today, or go to my daughter's in a horse jumping competition today, maybe I want to go watch her middle of the day, I might do all my work in the first 2 hours of the day and then just come back for the last hour and exit my positions as a day trader. If I was going to trade all day, I'd probably get a couple of extra trades in a week, but it's not so dramatic that it's necessarily worth the time. So I do like to trade all day some days when it's a good, strong day, but other days I just kind of don't work a lot in the middle of the day. All right, so let me show you what I do. So we're going to jump over to the Stockscores website first. Now I'm just going to bring it up here. I got a lot of windows open. Okay, so here I'm in the Stockscores website. I have to log in as myself. I was logged in as one of my users because I was helping them with a problem. All right, so I'm going to go into the market scan tool. So I'm in stockscores.com. If you are one of my students, you have access to this tool here called the market scan. And I'm going to run a scan called Day Trader. So I'm going to just go down the list here, and there you can see the scan called Day Trader. And I'm sorry, these pop-up windows are going to keep coming up because I've got my alerts running. Not much I can do about it, though. I'm going to run the report, and it found 35 stocks that deserve to be on my watch list today. All right, these are stocks that are trading with statistically significant abnormal volume and trading with very good liquidity. So I've looked at most of these stocks. I bought some of these stocks this morning. I bought Dunkin' Donuts. I bought Skechers. I bought Domino's Pizza. Here's the one that I was showing you just a moment ago on the Desjardins trading platform, CVC. If I jump back to the Desjardins platform, you can see that I've got open here CVC. And the reason I have it open is because it's trading abnormally. So that's how I create my watch list. I can go into Stockscores and do it this way, and it just gives me a list. I can also use some other trading software, which I have, that I have created a proprietary process in, which does this as well. And using this software, I'm able to find things even faster than I would find them on Stockscores. So I run a scan called Gainers. I copy all the symbols that it finds. It takes about 5 seconds. And I paste them into a window where I can sort by the number of trades because I want stocks that are liquid. I grab the stocks that are on pace to trade actively enough to be day tradable. So there's about 150 of those. I paste them into this, what's called a radar screen, and it calculates using one of my proprietary indicators, something that I've written for this program. It calculates statistically significant abnormal behavior. So there you can see SKX, Skechers. I bought it right here at the blue line. It's up a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a barn burner today, but at least it's moving in the right direction. CVC. So there was the entry signal right there. Now, you'll see that I've got these lines drawn on that chart. Those lines represent reward and risk. The red line is where I have my stop loss. The difference between the blue line and the yellow line is how I size my position. And then these other lines are used to exit the position or just to calculate my return. So if I risked $1,000 on this trade by buying it at, time was that, 10:44 Eastern time, currently that trade is up 1, 2, and almost 3 times risk. So that trade is currently up just about $3,000. I would have had to buy 5,000 shares of this stock to be able to do that. And so with margin, that would cost me about $33,000, and it's making about $3,000. So it's not a a real earth-shattering trade, but it's making about 10%. But keep in mind that's 10% in 3 or 4 hours, not 10% in a year, which is what a lot of people aspire to in their retirement savings. That's 10% in just a few hours. So that's my day trading approach. So I can build my watch list from Stockscores using the market scanner, or I can build it in this platform using some proprietary indicators, which are the exact same as what Stockscores uses, except it's doing it in real time here. Now we're going to come back to this at the end of the presentation. I'm going to explain what these blue dots are for and white dots and pink dots. You see all the different dots. They're for different trading strategies. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself yet. I'm just kind of giving you an overview at this point. So that's how I build the day trading watch list. Now the swing trading process is similar but also different. We're still looking for abnormal activity, but instead of monitoring a list of stocks for entry signals, we actually just run market scans and look for stocks that are worth entering as swing trades. I'm looking for stocks that are coming alive with abnormal activity early in the day. And I'm using my market scan tool on Stockscores. I'm using those proprietary processes in some live trading software that I use. And that's where I'm going to be able to find these things before the crowd finds them. All right, so the process might look like this. I go into Stockscores, and instead of running a day trader scan, I'm going to go to the market scan tool, and I'm going to run a scan called Simple Swing, which is a swing trading strategy. I run that, run the report. It's given me quite a few stocks today. We've got a decent up day in the market today, so there's a longer list of candidates. And I just go through them looking for certain chart patterns that I like to see. Now I'm going to stop if I see one that's good. I don't see anything that I really like yet, but I'll just keep cycling through these. And I know many people are asking me questions about what I'm doing. I will come to the questions later. I don't think I'm ignoring you, but I want to keep the flow going here. I'll answer questions later on. All right, so this one looks like a decent swing trade daily chart. If I like the daily, and that's okay, it's not outstanding, but it's pretty good, then I will look at the intraday chart for the right kind of chart pattern setup. And you can see that this stock came alive with abnormal activity right at the open today at about $2, $2.03. So again, it wasn't a great swing trade candidate, but it was pretty good. And now it's at 215, so it's up, 12 cents on a $2 stock, up about 6% so far today. There's better candidates out there. Let's see if I can find some. This one was a good one a few days ago. It's a little late now, but the swing trade entry a few days ago was right there. See how that big spike in volume came into the stock with a spike in price? So that's what this scanner looks for. It looks for that abnormal activity that tells us something is going on. Now, it's real important to understand that if you just look for abnormal activity, you're not going to make any money. You have to qualify the abnormal activity with chart patterns, and that's something I can teach you to do. The tool will put the abnormal stocks in front of us, but we have to qualify the stocks that come up from that scan to really determine the entry points that are the best. Now, I can do that process in a real-time charting program as well. I just run a different scan. So I'm going to run this scan again. I'm going to grab, I tend to like to swing trade stocks under $15. So I'm going to just grab all of the stocks from my list here and focus in on the cheaper ones. So these are the stocks under $15. I paste them into this screen over here, which calculates something called action candles. Now, in the middle of the day, there aren't usually too many action candles. You get most of them in the first hour, but we'll see if anything comes up here. I'm not seeing any right now. But let me just see if there's some from earlier today that might have given a signal. I'm going to change this chart to a 13-minute chart. Okay, so here's one that has what I want it to have. So can everyone see the pink dot on this chart? So that pink dot is one of my proprietary indicators. My students are given this indicator to chart that little pink dot on there if they want to use this program. And it is telling me loud and clear that something has got the market excited about that stock. So that would be a signal in the first half an hour of the day that tells me something is going on. And since that time, the stock has moved up a little more. Let's see if there's some other ones here. I want more liquid stocks. I'm going to try to focus in on some that are fairly liquid. Don't really like those. How about this one here? Okay, can everyone see the pink dot on this chart? This doesn't have the right pattern, but these pink dots are what I look for. They are signaling to me that something is happening in that market that makes that stock a good candidate to go higher. So that pink dot closed at $4.40. The stock currently is at $4.64. So it's up about 5% since that original entry signal sounded off. So that is the process for looking for swing trades. Again, what are swing trades? Stocks that we're going to hold for a few days. And I'm going to show you some examples at the end of the presentation of some recent swing trades. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about how you learn how to do this. I've developed trader training programs that I've been using for the last 15 years, and we've redone all of our trader training last year, so it's all fresh and up to date. And the process is relatively simple. You read my introductory book, The Mindless Investor. You can order that from our website. It's $30 plus shipping, and that gives you an introductory overview to what I do. Then you can start to do the foundation material, which is kind of the core concepts that allow you to understand my strategies, and then you can start to apply my strategies, either the active trader, which is what we're focused on today, or the investor strategies, which I do in other webinars, and you can take in other webinars down the road. So again, the foundation are the core skills for understanding my strategies. So how to read chart patterns, the concepts of abnormal activity and why that's important to breakdowns in market efficiency, just a lot of the things that I've talked about today so far. That's what's taught in the foundation. I'm going to show you this in a moment. The investor section is my rules for when to buy and sell for position trading. So if you want to be a longer term trader, you're going to do the investor course material. If you want to be an active trader, if you want to learn how to day and swing trade, whether it's an hour a day or all day or 2 hours a day and a little bit at the end of the day, active trading are my strategies and processes for day and swing trading using my proprietary indicators and processes, either on Stockscores or in that trading software that I was showing you earlier. So it's all about build a watch list, build a list of candidates, and monitor them in real time using a program like this where I can look for my entry signals. I can pull up SKX, which is Skechers, which is another stock that I own. And keep in mind, I own Skechers only as a day trade. I'm going to sell this stock before the close. I'm not buying it because I think it's going higher for the next 6 months. I'm buying it because I think it's going to go higher for the next hour. I bought it this morning early with the expectation that it would go up a couple dollars today, and that's what's happening on that stock. So it's only a day trade, not anything longer than that. All right. So let's jump into the Stockscores Education Center now. We have written lessons, videos, assignments, and tests for the foundation area. And then we have written lessons and videos that explain my strategy, rules, and processes in this as well. So I'm going to jump back to Stockscores, and I'm going to get out of the Market Scan tool. I'm going to go to Education. And here you can see the foundation section has a whole bunch of lessons that give you the basis to understand my strategies. So you need to learn how to read chart patterns. Well, there's 2 lessons on that, the 6 elements of chart patterns and a lesson called predictive chart patterns. If I click on lesson, this little icon here, I can read all about the 6 elements of chart patterns and predictive chart patterns. If I want to watch a video that explains that, I just click on video and hit play, and I can watch from my cell phone, from my iPad, from a computer on my desktop at home or at work. I can watch a video, this one's 26 minutes long, explaining what predictive chart patterns are and how to use them. I can watch it over and over again if I want. I can jump around. There you can see me explaining, much like this webinar. I'm just going to mute this because I can hear myself talking, but it's all just right there as if it's a webinar, but you can watch it over and over again to really understand those concepts. Okay, so I'm going to pause this, go back to the Education Center. Now once you've reviewed the lesson and the video, then you're ready to do the assignment. So you can do an assignment that's going to teach you, or sorry, have you apply what you've learned with some questions. And at the end of the assignment, there's an answer. So I can click on Show Answer, and there's a video that provides my explanation of all of the assignment questions that you've had to answer. So again, very self-directed, easy for you to do on your own time, whether you want to do it all in a weekend or whether you want to do it over the course of 2 months. I mean, it's up to you how quickly you work through this material. There's about a dozen, maybe 14 different lessons in that section. Once you've done those, then you're ready to work on strategies. So today we're focused on active trading, so we're going to look at the active trader strategies. So I've got one here called intraday pullbacks. That's how I bought Skechers, for example, or CVC was an intraday pullback. We have superheroes. One of my stocks today, actually Skechers just gave a superhero entry point about half an hour ago. So that's another strategy. Now if I want to learn the rules of the superhero strategy, I click on lesson and I can read it there in that online lesson. If I want to watch the video, I click on the little video icon and I can see visually in an explanation of a video how that works. So I can click on this and I'm going to get a 28-minute video that explains that strategy, the rules for entry, the rules for exit, the rules for risk management, all taught in a video. If I want to make this bigger, click on full screen. I can see it nice and large so I can really get all the detail in the graphics that are on that video. All right, so let's pause that. So that's an overview of the Stockscores Education Center. Now, cost. Everyone always wants to know what my courses cost, so let's go through that. There's several options to learn the Stockscores approach. You can start at the top and just get everything. So if you do the Active Trader course for $3,495, you're going to get the Investor course, you're going to get the Foundation. Some people like to work through it step by step, so you can do the Foundation course and then upgrade to the Investor course for the price difference plus $250. So it's $1,745 to move from, or $1,750 to move from the Foundation to the Investor. If you do the Active Trader, you get the Investor, you get the Foundation. If you do the Investor, you get the Foundation, and you could later upgrade to the Active Trader for the price difference plus $250. If you want me to coach you one-on-one for 6 months, I do that with 5 to 10 people at a time, then that's mentorship. That's $7,495. Now I know we've got people in the US in the presentation today, so just to know that all of these prices are in Canadian dollars, which is about 20% less than the US dollar. So if you're in the US, you can basically take 18 to 20% off the price because of your currency strength. And for those that are in Canada, we have a partnership with a brokerage house in Canada, Desjardins Online Brokerage, who will subsidize your education. They want you as their clients, and they want clients who know how to trade because that's a better client for them. So they subsidize the education by basically paying me to give their clients deals on my education. So this is only open to Canadians. But if you are in Canada, you want to open a brokerage account with Desjardins, you can get the foundation course for free. You save yourself $995. You want to do the investor course, instead of paying $24.95, you pay $1,000. If you want to do the active trader course, instead of paying $34.95, you pay $2,000, and you save $500 off on the mentorship course as well. So that is a nice option for people in Canada. I trade through Desjardins. The platform that I was showing you here is the Desjardins online trading platform. This is called DD+. This is where I enter all my orders. Now, this is a test account. Desjardins doesn't want me showing my real account, so this is just a little dummy account that they've set up for me, but exact same software that I use every day. And basically, I've got my watch list in there, and I can just cycle through the charts in my watch list, looking for my entry points. And for clients of Desjardins who trade fairly actively, they're going to give you this for free. If you're less active, you're going to use their web platform because you're only going to maybe make less than 10 trades a month, then you want to use the web platform. If you're making more than 20 or 30 trades a month as a day trader, that's pretty easy. I can do that in 2 or 3 days. Then I get this platform for free. So it's a great platform for doing my order entry, real-time charting, and direct access. Now, today we've got Daniel on from Desjardins, and I'm just going to open up the floor to him for about 3 or 4 minutes. He's just going to highlight a little bit about Desjardins, and then I'm going to come back, talk about the May class, and then we're going to review some of the trades from yesterday and answer some of your questions, because I've got tons of questions to answer. I'm going to try to get caught up on those as quickly as I can. But anyways, Daniel, are you there with me? Not hearing.
Yeah, I'm here.
Here he is. Okay, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, go ahead. You've got a couple minutes just to talk a little bit about your company.
Perfect. Thank you, Tyler. So first, I'd like to thank all the attendees for joining us for today's webinar. I appreciate it. And there are 4 main reasons why you should consider making the switch to Desjardins online brokerage. First point, we are very safe. Desjardins is very safe. Desnet is the online brokerage for Desjardins Financial Group, and we're the 6th largest financial institution in Canada. We were recently rated in a Bloomberg Markets report as the 2nd safest bank in the world. So if you want to read the article, Google Desjardins safest bank, and you will find it in the Canadian Business article. So to put that in Canadian perspective, TD is mentioned in the article as 5th in North America, but didn't even break the top 20 globally. This is very important to you with past events like the financial crisis when we saw several large institutions go insolvent. It can help you sleep better knowing that the financial firm you do business is rated very safe. We're also a member of the CIPF, Canadian Investor Protection Fund. So second point I want to get across, we're #1 in customer satisfaction. Desnet has been awarded #1 in customer satisfaction in the J.D. Power Associate Survey. We have won the #1 spot 4 out of the last 5 years. We promise to bring you great customer service and customer experience, and we will always be there for you from opening and transferring your account to support using our platforms and tools. And point number 3, we're very reliable and we're a very cost-effective service. So we are the first discount brokerage in Canada and have been in business for over 30 years. And this experience translates to a very reliable platform that you can count on. We offer real-time streaming quotes and fast execution. And Desnet is a direct access brokerage, which means your trades hit the market in 1/10 of a second. Most other bank-owned online brokerages use straight-through processing, which basically equates to you sending an email to their trade desk. Also, most direct access brokers charge something called a ECN, electronic communication fees, which we do not charge. And active traders can trade for as low as $5, but even if you're not an active trader, everyone can enjoy trading at $9.95 flat fee. And we have very competitive margin rates as well for those who trade with leverage, and we offer 3-to-1 buying power for experienced traders as well. And last point, we have very powerful tools and education. And at Desnet, we know how hard it is to consistently beat the markets and manage your account, so we're committed to bring you powerful tools such as Stockscores. And we offer tools like the Stockscores Market Scanner, as well as Stockscores Education to our clients, and substantial discount for Stockscores members looking to upgrade their knowledge and take their trading to the next level. So today, I would encourage you to visit our website, www.desnet.com, to get more information and sign up for a free demo of any of our platforms. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me directly through phone or email. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Daniel. I've just put up a poll here. It's The easiest way to have Daniel contact you, if you just say yes to this poll, he will send you an email today or tomorrow with his contact information so that you and he can follow up. Daniel works with Wayne in the Vancouver office. Wayne is on a little vacation for the couple of days, but Daniel's holding down the fort there at the Vancouver office. And so again, if you just would like any more information about Desjardins services, maybe you want to take advantage of the discounted pricing on my courses, just say yes to this and he will email you in the next couple of days. If you've said yes to this survey at past webinars, he's going to send you the same email, so you probably don't need to say yes again, but it's up to you. Certainly Daniel is a great guy to deal with. I'm going to leave that up for another moment, and then we're going to get into looking at some of the recent trading, and I will try to answer some questions. As I said, there's a ton of questions coming in. While this is up, just going to answer a couple quick questions regarding Desjardins. One is, can you transfer an RSP to Desjardins? Yes, you can. And normally I would let Daniel answer these, but I know the answer. So does Desjardins use a real-time streaming quote app? Yes, they do. I can get real-time pricing to my desktop software, but also to my phone using their mobile app. You have to, sign up for it, and as long as you trade actively enough, that's all free. Just want to see if there's any other questions from Desjardins before I move on. There might be, but I probably missed a few. Commission rates are very competitive, anywhere from $5 to $9.95 in commissions, so they're among the cheapest in the industry. And any other specific questions you can answer, Daniel, just say yes to the poll question, and then he will email you tomorrow. All of his contact information will come to you in that way, and you can converse with him with any questions you have. All right, I'm going to close that down now and move along. There's his contact info. I'll leave that up. You can watch it in the video later. I'm not going to leave it up for long. Let's now talk a little bit about the upcoming live training I have in May, and then we're going to review some day trades and swing trades that have come up recently. So on Saturday, May 23rd, I'm going to be doing a foundation overview class. Much like today's webinar, I'm going to be teaching via the web live for about 3 hours on the morning of Saturday, May 23rd. So starting 9 o'clock Pacific time, my time. So if you're in the East Coast, that'll be 12 o'clock p.m. And for 3 hours, I'm going to go over all of the material in the foundation course and really link it all together. It's a great way to get started, to really get a sense of how all of my concepts work together and really set you up for the next phase, which is applying my strategies. So that week, Monday, May 25th until Thursday, May 28th, in the evenings for the investor students, we're going to do live market scanning. So each night, I'm going to do market scans with you, and we are going to pick stocks. I'm going to explain why I take some stocks, why I don't take others, what I'm looking for in those charts. It's the application of what you've learned in real market conditions, and we'll try to find some winners. During the day that week, for the first couple of hours of the day, I'm going to build my watch list for you live. I'm going to pick my entry points. I'm going to tell you the stocks that I'm buying with my money. So you're basically going to watch me trade the market live. We're going to do that for the first 2, maybe 2.5 hours of each trading day, Monday to Thursday, and really set you up with what you will be doing as an active trader for your career as a trader. So it's the application of what you learn in the class. Anyone who registers for either the investor course or the active trader course before May 15th, you're going to get this live online training free. After May 15th, it's going to be $495 extra charge. So let's say you do the investor course, you pay the $2,495, or you sign up through Disnat for $1,000, you're going to get access to that training for free for that week. If you do the active trader course, you're going to get the active trader training, and then you're going to watch me trade live for the Monday to Thursday for that week. So if you have any interest in my courses, just answer yes to this poll, which course you're interested in. I will send you an email with more details. I didn't want to go into all the details of what I teach in the courses, that kind of stuff. For those that are interested, I've got videos that explain that. I'll send you an email with all those links. You just have to let me know that you want to receive that email, because I don't send stuff to people that aren't interested. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to fire you an email later today with the details of the upcoming class, May 23rd, May 25th to 28th. And also just how you register to take advantage of that before May 15th. All right, I'm going to, and by the way, if you are in let's say you did my active trader course last year and you want to retake this training, you can do a retake. It's $195, so it's pretty cheap, and you can watch me trade for the week. You can do the foundation course for that day. It's only open to people who've taken my course in the past. So if if you bought the active trader course last year in November, let's say, and you want to redo this training, you can do that. So answer yes to the question, and I'll send you the details of that. Last time I ran the course, I had probably 60 or 70 retakes from past courses who just wanted to review the material again, and I think it's a great way to keep your learning going. So that'll be something that is an option as well. Okay, I'm going to take down the poll in just a minute, and then we're going to actually look at some trades. So I'll just leave this up for a second. I got a ton of questions. I don't know how I'm going to get caught up on all these. We have so many people in the webinar today that there's a lot of questions. I think I'll save the questions for the end. So if you've asked questions, I am going to do my best to get to everyone's questions, but I will answer them all at the same time. All right, I'm going to take the poll down. So if you've voted or asked for this to be emailed, thank you very much, and I will send you an email later today. Now, if you're watching today's presentation as a video and you want to get the email, just fire me an email, tylerb@stockscores.com. I'll put that up later, and I'll send you an email with the details as well. I know some people are not able to participate in the actual webinar today, but they do want to watch it as a video, so they registered for the webinar, and I will be emailing out a link to the webinar later today. If you want more information on the education, there's a URL that you can go to, stockscores.com/learn. It's got a couple of videos on the active trader course and the education or the investor course. It's all there on that link. All right, so let's look at some recent day trades and recent swing trades. So at the top of the presentation, I reviewed a little spreadsheet that I've been accumulating since March 9th, which is all of the valid trades for one of my strategies, something called an intraday pullback play strategy, since March 9th. So yesterday was actually a pretty busy day. We had, I think, eight valid trades yesterday on that particular strategy. So I'm going to review some of those and just kind of walk you through what I'm looking for in those stocks and how they did. So let's start off with CAMP, which is one at the top of the list. So I'm going to jump over to a real-time charting program that puts some dots on these charts. So I'm going to just blow this chart up a little bit, make this a 2-minute chart, because when I day trade, I trade off of a 2-minute. So first of all, step one is the reason I was watching this stock is because it was trading with statistically significant abnormal activity. And I can find that with Stockscores using the day trader market scan, or I can find it with this software using that process I showed you earlier to build my watch list. Then what I do, and this sounds overly simplistic, is I wait for blue dots. I watch this chart for these little blue dots, and those blue dots tell me that the stock meets the rules of my criteria, or potentially does. Now, if I get a blue dot, I check the chart, and I see if it satisfies the criteria of the visual reference. So in this case, it met my rules at 10:24. And if we go back to the spreadsheet, you'll see that my entry time was, see right there, it says 10:24. All right, so that was the entry signal time. Now, at that point, I draw these what are called reward for risk lines. They help me to size my position. So on this particular trade, if I wanted to take $300 worth of risk, I would have bought 1,000 shares. If I wanted to take $100 worth of risk, I would have bought 300 shares. So there's a formula that we use to identify or to calculate position size. Now that formula is taught in the education area. You go into the foundation, into risk management, into that lesson. That explains how we size our positions. Okay? So then it becomes a matter of just waiting for an exit signal. And in this particular instance, that trade was held until the end of the day, and it earned a 2.5 times risk because this was the risk amount, the difference between the yellow line and the blue line, and the difference between the blue line and the closing price was the reward. So it earned 1, 2, and a little better than 2.5 times risk. That means if I risked $1,000, I earned $2,500. If I risked $100, I earned $250. Now, the more you risk, the bigger your position. You need more capital to take more risk. So if you have $100,000 to trade with, your risk is going to be higher than if you have $10,000 to trade with. All right, so that was one of the trades from yesterday. Let's pull up another one. DLB was another one in the spreadsheet. And again, I look for blue dots. So there was a blue dot right here, and the following candle satisfied the visual criteria. And in this case, that trade earned 1, 2, 3 times risk. Now, it jumped up a little bit more this morning, but these trades were exited at the end of the day yesterday. Okay, let's go back to yesterday, or the spreadsheet, just to see some more. VMware, another one I did yesterday. This was actually a nice mover. So VMware, I think, had earnings out yesterday. There's my blue dot. The one that qualified was right here, this candle right here. And again, I've got a set of rules. At 10:02, it qualified. Now those rules, if I go back into the Education Center and go down to the Active Trader course material, this is the intraday pullback strategy. I pull up that lesson, and see how it's got these little arrows at blue dots? You can hardly see the detail because it's so small, but there's little blue dots there, and those yellow arrows signal entry signals using the rules of that strategy. All right, so once you've learned that, once you've learned the process to build the watch list, the process to monitor, then you monitor in whatever charting program you use. If I'm using this software, Disnat's trading software, so if you're a client of Disnat and you're monitoring on this one, I just go VMW, and you can, I got to go to yesterday here. So there's yesterday, and our entry signal was this candle right here. You don't need the blue dot. The blue dot's helpful, but you can figure it out otherwise. You just have to know what to look for. And in this case, that stock went for a nice run into the close. Okay, so it maxed out at 4-to-1 reward per risk and closed the day at about 2.5, 2.6 reward per risk. All right, so those are some of the day trades from yesterday. Now, overall, out of the 8 day trades yesterday was a pretty good day in terms of success rate, although there wasn't any real big winners. But basically, I think 6 out of 8 yesterday were winners, depending on the exit strategy. If you used my preferred exit strategy, 6 out of 8 trades from yesterday were winners. And you can see there the profit of those 8 trades. So, and this is assuming $1,000 risk. So $2,600, $2,700, $2,800, a $3,000 loss, $1,200, $400, $1,100, $800. And so for the day, up about $6,000 using a risk tolerance of $1,000. And those of you that have taken my courses know all about what risk tolerance is and that kind of thing. Now that assumes you take every trade. Maybe you only took half, so then you would have a different mix in terms of where your profitability comes in for the day. Your risk tolerance may be a lot lower than $1,000. Instead of $1,000, you may have risked $100, so you're trying to make $600 for the day. Of course, it also takes a lot less capital to only risk $100 per trade. Now I want to talk a little bit about swing trades. So I'm going to make this a 13-minute chart because I swing trade off of a 13-minute. Now I'm just going to pull up some of the recent swing trades that we've had. First one is VGGL. Now with swing trades, we look for pink dots. So instead of blue dots, we look for pink. Okay, and you can see a pink dot right there. This one actually started back over here. It's not showing a pink dot because we don't have enough history on this chart. I can make it actually change it. I just have to put in more days of data. Let me just add some more days of data here. So there you can see the pink dot right there. So that was our original entry signal. We had a second entry signal here that was valid. And as a swing trader, you're holding for anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks. So the original entry signal on VGGL was at $1.75 or so. Currently, we're at $2.92. It hit $3.40 this morning. Another one that was pretty good, BIOC, was kind of a one-day wonder, 1.5 day. So there's my pink dot right there. It met all my criteria at that pink dot. It went for a pretty good run higher from $2.50 to $4. That's a pretty nice move. But I found it using the process that I showed you. I run a market scan on Stockscores, or I run the process that I showed you in this software looking for that pink dot. I'll give you a couple more. CARA, whoops, C-A-R-A. There's the pink dot right there. This one took a while. It took 4 or 5 days before it started to get some follow through, but it started that follow through on Tuesday. You can see on Tuesday it started to move up there. And let's see, one more. How about BLTC? This one's been a great runner for a while. So there's the pink dots way back here on April 9th. Stock was at around $4 or $5 then. It hit almost 22 yesterday. So how do I find those? just to review, I mean, I showed this process earlier, but to review, I run a scan and I paste all of my symbols in here, and this will ring alerts when there's pink dots. Or I go to Stockscores and I go to my scanner and I run the Stockscores simple swing, run the report, and then look through those charts looking for stocks that meet the visual criteria of what I am looking for. So those are some recent day and swing trades, and it's a very mechanical process. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of boring after a while. You just do the same thing day in and day out. You don't have to do it all day if you don't have the time. Like I said, I've been doing most of my day trading lately just for the first 2 hours of the day, and then I'm going to sell my stocks in the last 5 minutes of the day today. So after I'm done this webinar, I'm going to, get ready to exit my positions for that final run into the close. And typically, they kind of go sideways through the middle of the day, and then they make their run into the close, and you can get a little extra profitability that way. Now, I'm going to try to answer some questions now. I've got lots to answer. If I don't answer your question, you can always email me, tylerb@stockscores.com. I will leave that up. But let me just see if I can get some questions answered. Now, I know a couple of you were having some trouble with audio. If ever you're in one of my webinars and the audio doesn't work, try rebooting your computer and logging back in, because that usually fixes it. What's the benefit of day trading based on high signal sentiment score stocks versus just trading the top percent gainers of the day? Okay, great question. So on stock scores, we have the stock scores indicators. So if I pull up any stock, I can pull up Microsoft, and you will see there's some scores up here. These scores are for position trading. We do not use them for day trading. A day trade probably has better potential if it's got a good sentiment score, something above 60, but that's not a criteria for any of my strategies. So if you're day trading, I would not worry about using those scores. They're not important. We use those scores when we're doing our position trading scans and that sort of thing. So the question is the equity curve that I showed today for day or swing trading? That was for one of my day trading strategies, one called the intraday pullback strategy. And that's the one where I do 80% of my entries. In fact, for the study in that equity curve, all of the entries occurred in the first 2 hours of the day. Okay, so when we get a day like Friday, April 17th, when there was a big sell-off in the overall market, how did your trades do that day? Generally, if it's a bad day for the market, you won't get as many entry signals. And the entry signals that you do get won't have as good follow-through, so you won't have as high reward for risk. And sometimes you'll lose. Most times, if you take every trade that was found by the strategy for the day, even on a bad day, you can still do okay. Now, when the market gets really bad, like when we get a sharp correction, I have a different strategy that I use. I use something called the wave strategy on something called the VIX. We haven't had a day like that since October, so I haven't really been doing that strategy lately because the market hasn't been correcting lately. But corrections happen, and so when corrections happen, I trade the market a little different way, and that's one of the things I'll teach in the Active Trader course. What is the time delay with stock scores? Stock scores charts are delayed about 15 minutes, and then the market scanner is delayed about 30. So if you want real-time scanning, then you want to use some of the other software with my proprietary indicators. So if you are an active trader student, I give you the indicators to put the little blue dots and the little pink dots on the chart. I show you how to use something like the Disnat trading platform to pick your entry points and exit points in real time on their platform. So if you are day trading, you're going to need real-time quotes, and your broker can give those to you. Certainly if you're a client of Desjardins, they give it to you. You want to do that. Now, if you're going to use stock scores for market scanning, you can run your first scan about 30 minutes after the day. And for day trading, that's actually okay because most of our day trades come after the first half hour of the day. In fact, the success rate is higher if you wait for that period to lapse. So you can build your watch list from stock scores, say 35 minutes after the day, just by running this scan, day trader scan, run the report. There's my watch list. Then I drop that into my real-time charting program and I monitor them. So here's my real-time charting program. And I just monitor my watch list by cycling through the stocks on the watch list. You do this every couple of minutes, just going through them, looking for the ones that have the visual confirmation of the rules. Okay, am I recording this? Yes, I am. So I will be emailing out a link to the recording to everyone that was registered. Do I scale in when I buy? I often do, yes. Do I scale out when I sell? No, I typically don't. You find a list of day trading stocks with the first 1 to 2 hours of the day. What times are the day trader market scan available? Okay, so I just answered that question about half an hour after the open. Is there a discount for people taking the course from the same family? Father and son, in the same household, you can use the material together, but you don't get more than one login in for, if the father and son are doing it together, I have no problem with you sharing the access. Does Desjardins stream in real time? Yes, they do. At what time do I run my simple swing scan and stock scores? I'll run the first one about 35 minutes after the open. So depends what time zone you're in. For me, that's 7:05 a.m. because I'm in the Pacific time zone. Is it necessary to learn the investor course when you're only interested in swing trading? No. Basically, the investor course is just investor strategies. You do the foundation. Everyone does the foundation together. And then you just pick your strategies that you want to do. So if you want to only swing trade, you're going to focus in on the swing trading strategies in the active trader course. You get access to everything, but which ones you focus in on is up to you. Just trying to, do my proprietary indicators only work with TradeStation? Yes, that is correct. Now some of these questions are for Daniel. I'm going to just let you email Daniel. He will answer that. One question, does the mentorship price, which was $7,495, include the courses or is it an extra cost? No, it includes all the course material. Basically includes everything. It includes one-on-one coaching from me. We'll do webinars together, one-on-one, typically once a week. And I'll review things. I really just hold your hand through the learning process. There's no extra knowledge that you get. You just get me coaching you one-on-one. And for some people, they really find value in that. So I think if you want that kind of training and maybe you've got a little more capital to trade with, then you can sort of justify the extra cost of that. Okay, so here's a question. When you buy in the morning and leave the computer and come back before the close, do you place a stop sell order? Yes. So in case the stock really goes backwards on you and you're not going to be watching the screen, then you would definitely take advantage of a stop. We have a pretty wide stop though, and but I have done that certainly. It's important because you don't want a real crushing loser to take you, give you a real big loss if you weren't able to watch the market. So if I'm out, like I said, I wouldn't wanted to go watch my daughter jump her horse at this thing today. I'd put some stops in before I left so that I don't have to worry about it. But I also carry my cell phone with me. I can get real-time quotes on my cell phone. I can execute a trade on my cell phone. So you're not totally, helpless if you're away from the screen, assuming you have a smartphone and a client or a brokerage house like DisNet, which gives you real-time charts and everything on your phone. All right, so as I said, if you are already a past student of mine, you can join in on the May training for $195. I will send all of my active trader students, all my investor students an email in the next few days on that, so you can register for that way. Do I also trade the short side of the market? I generally don't. I used to trade the short side a lot. It's very difficult nowadays to short because it's hard to get inventory, and that's been a bit of a problem. So Richard, I got your comment about needing the course information because you're on your phone. I will send that to you as well. Do I only buy stocks as opposed to options on stocks? I personally do. I've got enough capital that I don't need the leverage that options provide. If, however, you have less capital or you really want the leverage that you get from options, many of my students will trade the stock through the option. So instead of buying the stock, they'll buy options on the stock. And, there's more risk in that because there's leverage in options, but there's also a lot more reward potential in terms of percentage reward. Where will the recording be placed? It'll be placed on YouTube, but I will email everyone that's registered a link. So if you don't get that email in the next day, check your junk folder or something or your spam folder. It might have landed in there. What was the exit strategy? The exit strategy is something that's taught in the course material. I'm not going to teach that today. What ratio is your position to swing or day trade? I personally mostly day trade, but that's because that's what I like to do. I try not to do everything. But if you're a swing trader, then you're going to mostly swing trade. So it's really a matter of what strategies you focus on. I teach, half a dozen different strategies so that you can find the one that fits with your schedule, your personality, the best. Can you get access to my active trader market scans without having to pay for the education? No, you cannot. It's only available to my students. Someone's using NinjaTrader. Does the indicator work there? I sent my indicator to one person that uses NinjaTrader, and he was able to get it to work. I know it was difficult, so I think you have to be pretty computer savvy if you're on something like that to get it to work, but certainly I'll do my best to help you, but I don't know that it's going to be easy for you. But as I said, I did have one guy that made it work for NinjaTrader. How long do I usually wait for a swing trade to get going? A swing trade should start to move within 2 weeks, I would say. If it doesn't do anything within 2 weeks, I'll sometimes just dump it and move on. Can you use my indicators in Thinkorswim? No, they're not compatible with Thinkorswim, sorry. They're only compatible on Stockscores or on TradeStation. And for Roger's question, yes, I do find TradeStation is excellent, but there's a cost to it. I mean, it's not my cost, but you do have to subscribe to it. Unless you're in the US, then you can have a brokerage account with them. When will you post the wave strategy in the active trader area? I've explained it in some videos for my active trader students. It's not a whole lot different. So I will put it up as soon as I can. I'm still kind of fine-tuning it. If you want to know the actual details of it and you are one of my active trader students, just send me an email and I'll fill you in on that. TradeStation is not available to Canadians unless you subscribe to it. You cannot have a brokerage account with them. The cost is about $300 a month. What online chat groups do you get access to? We have an online chat on Stockscores that you can join in if you're an active trader or an investor student. So here's the question. If I take the active trader course, do I have access to the day trader strategy and simple swing strategy in the market scan filters? Yes. So if you've signed up for the active trader course, you should have access to that. Now, Harvey, if you don't, I'll have to check why. So send me an email, please, and I will look into that for you. Will a stop always work, or can it be skipped over? U.S. stops will always work. In Canada, stops are limit stops, so in theory, they can be missed. But in the U.S., unless you're on the OTC bulletin board, stops will get executed by your broker. Why is your stop lower than your risk? I found that using a wider stop has a higher net value total, and so I think it's better that way. Can you get the proprietary stuff to work on TC2000? You can't get my indicators to work in TC2000, but I have some students who've made the basic concepts work in TC2000. You have to be pretty savvy with that program to make it work, and I still think it's better to use some of the other things that I use, but you can make it work otherwise. As a newbie, can I take the trader's course and be good? Yeah, absolutely. I teach lots of people who've never traded much. You just have to work. It's kind of like if you want to be fit, you can go buy a gym membership, but unless you go and do the work and lift the weight and run and jump and whatever you do to get fit, you're not going to get fit. So I'll teach you everything you need to know. I've been doing this for 25 years. I know a lot about trading, and I don't think there's anyone else that can teach you what I know. However, you have to put in the work. So it's not a miracle. I'm not going to put money in your account just because you buy my course. You have to put in the time and effort to learn it. It's not overly complex. I mean, most of my strategies I can explain on the back of a napkin. However, it took me a long time to figure that out. It took me 8 years to figure out my strategies. And even today, I'm still fine-tuning my strategies constantly and giving an update on those. Does my indicator work with the pink and blue dots on Stockscores? No, it does not. I'd like to do that one day, but it currently does not do that. How many times a year do I teach my course? Probably a couple. I used to teach live. I used to teach over a weekend. I'd come into a city and teach at a university, and I'm not doing that anymore. I may do it once a year now. I haven't done it for a while. So now I'm doing it live online, and so my current one is in May. The next one probably won't be until the fall, but I do it from time to time. And as I said earlier, if you've taken my class in the past and you want to retake it, it's usually a $195 fee to retake it if it's the online course. I think I'm pretty much caught up in my questions. I had a lot, and I think I answered everyone's. If I missed one, I apologize. You can, pardon me, you can email me and I'll be happy to send that to you. So again, I'll just give you my credentials here. There's my email address. If you have questions about the courses, about what we talked about today, certainly email me. If you want more details about the upcoming class or the active trader and investor courses, there's the URL. If you answered yes to do you want to receive an email from me, I will send you that email later today, and so you can check that email out. There's some video links in there and just all the details of how to register for the class. Again, if you register before May 15th, you're going to get all that live online training for free. I wouldn't wait until May 15th unless you really can't get to the material until then, because the more time you spend before the class, which starts May 23rd, the more you're going to get out of the class on May 23rd. If you take some time now to go through all the foundation material and study my strategies for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're just going to be that much better equipped to take advantage of what I'm going to teach you live that week of May 23rd. So I want to wrap up the presentation today. I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope it was informative. I'm going to do this presentation again, I think in a week. So if you go to the Stockscores website, and today was a really quiet trading day. I would have loved to show you some better movers, but there just wasn't a lot going on today, and I can't control that. I mean, that's the market. So, but if you go to the Stockscores website, which is what I'm on right now, and go to the home page, right here on the right-hand side shows all of my upcoming webinars. You can actually click on this View All Webinars link here, and you can see all the current upcoming webinars and register for any of them. So the next one that I'm doing is on Thursday this week, Investing with the Stockscores Approach. No, that's not Thursday this week. The next one I'm doing is Tuesday next week, and that'll be a little more detail on the active trading approach, not live. It's done in the evening, and then you can see some others. But I'm doing another one live during trading hours on Wednesday, May 6th. So if you want to do this one again, register for that one there. It'll be the same theory, but I'll use the trades of that day or that time period to show some examples of how I do this. So anyway, yeah, register for more of these webinars. They're free, and hopefully you can do it. If you can't attend a webinar, but you want to get the video for it, register. I'll send you the video. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. I got some stocks to sell in the last few minutes here, so it looks like I'll make a little bit of money today. Not a barn burner by any means, but hopefully you can grind out a little bit of profits today. And hopefully we'll see you at another webinar. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Good afternoon.